Terrific. And I'm live, microphone switched on, and we got the lights. Okay, so thanks for joining me, everyone. This is a quick post, just really kind of sharing the challenges that people like me have posting stuff to social media channels. The truth is that telling the truth is so very hard to do for two reasons. One, most of the posts that go out on social media pander. They pander for likes, they pander for the approval of the audience. And of course, if you don't get the likes, you don't get the monetization and so on and so forth. So there's a huge kind of reward for pandering to people. Secondly, nobody is in the business of communications to be ignored. Okay. And so as a result, people will do what they think largely they need to do to be noticed, to be liked, to be subscribed to, and to be shared. Okay. The problem is that what pandering does is it's kind of at the superficial level. It means that you will go to the lowest common denominator and share pure trivia. Trivia of the kind that you might call the opiate of the masses, that gets people in their fields, cutie pie stuff about pets, about food, about nature, and so on. And basically, it's an escape from the realities that we confront. Then, at the serious end, pandering makes sure that you do not touch on people's sensitivities, like their guilt and their shame, at whatever they're confronting and feel they're failing in. That's a big one. Now, it's easy to do because we've actually been trained by the media to be pandered to be trivialized in everything that's chucked at us, not to be thinking. In fact, pandering is kind of the baseline motivation for Facebook coming up with something like Meta and its virtual reality. I mean, can you, in your living mind, imagine human beings living in a virtual world? Isn't that the ultimate kind of abuse, the ultimate negation of the fantastic creativity that exists in you and me as human beings, is to go off in a dream world somewhere and just pretend that you're engaging with reality when everybody knows that you're not. So that's pandering, and a lot of posts are supposed to do that. The second thing that a lot of these posts do is that they trigger people. By triggering people, I mean they hook onto the stereotypes that people hold because they're the low-hanging fruit. You tweak them, you're going to get a result, and more or less you can guarantee what kind of result you're going to get. So that there are certain stereotypes out here in the West, and I'm based in London, the United Kingdom, that will get people going forward. In Western Europe, we've got this thing going on about being saviors. We've got this thing going on about being the exalted ones. And we've got this kind of reverse and fake humility thing going on, pretending that we're not. But in so many of the activities that we do here in Western Europe, we think we're superior to everybody else in the world. And the reason that we struggle with this situation is that we're constantly having to deny that that is so. Well, you know, if you were able to speak frankly to people who don't form the majority, they would tell you in no uncertain terms the hypocrisy that makes our society run on an even keel. But what I'm saying is that our society enables itself to run by pretending that there are lots of things it's not doing, from really deadly foreign policy initiatives, um, arms deals, economic initiatives, which disenfranchise and disable whole swathes of the world, but which our mainstream media over here will never show you. And rather, our mainstream media will let you know that actually, without you, places like Africa, South Asia, and so on couldn't function. It's a tissue of lies, a whole tissue of lies. And so when people like Boris Johnson and Priti Patel come up with these policies about shipping off immigrants, migrants who come in through illegal means, because all the legal means of entering the country have already been cut off, a court, they will now be shipped off to Africa. And this is a trope which is so demeaning of the British people, that the Britain I was raised in has so lowered her standard of morality and ethics that it's breathtaking. And yet it's happening, and there are lots of people who are actually clapping for it. Well, if that sort of thing happens, you have to pander to those people, because you can't possibly tell them the truth. Otherwise, there'd be Armageddon. Now, if the posts that are being put out there either pander to people to assuage their guilt and shame, and feelings of failure, or trigger the stereotypes which they have been schooled to hold, what is your alternative? You know, uh, it's very difficult then to come up with doing what people like me want to do, which is A, find the truth, B, express the truth. Why? Because you can't build a house on quicksand. You can't build any edifice that lasts on lies, on pandering, on stereotypes which are false. You can only build something that is sustainable on the truth. And so I've always believed that it's important, A, to find what that truth is, and then B, to create value using that truth. It goes back to what the kind of the Romans called, the trivium, which is basically it's grammar, logic, and rhetoric. Okay. So why is the truth so difficult? The truth is difficult because it cuts clean across the problem with pandering, or the behavior of pandering. You can't tell the truth and pander at the same time, because the two are diametrically opposed to each other. You can't tell the truth and involve stereotypes which have been invented and unveiled upon the people, or trained into the people, to make them feel comfortable with their lot so that they will continue. And I think that the discomfort of being in this situation, not being able to tell the truth, is all the more now because we are at a crossroads in our ascension, our way up. We are actually being goaded into a very serious conflict between East and West over Ukraine. This is no time to be pandering to people or triggering them using stereotypes. The consequences are way too severe. And so the only person who expects to be pandered to and kept in that metaverse of faux reality, of kind of made up let's believe virtual reality are children. If you don't have the human maturity to deal with reality, that is the definition of somebody who is either emotionally so immature he can't handle reality, or a person who doesn't have enough life experience to understand that reality is the only basis for constructing anything that lasts. So there we have it. This is really, I guess, a cry for people to understand that we can't do what we used to do before, because over the horizon are serious consequences. The consequences will be borne by you and I. The consequences will not be borne by the people who are goading us and pushing us towards that cliff edge. And so I would say it's time to grow up. We need to face the truth. Now, the last thing I think I ought to mention is that, there's an Akan saying. Akan is a West African language. What it says is that Orubu no yehu. What that means is that, oh my God, it's coming, oh my God, it's coming, is the scariest part of the attack. When the attack actually finally comes, you invariably find a way to deal with it. And so the idea that somebody is going to tell you a few truths about what is happening in our world should not frighten anybody. It sounds far worse than it actually is. In fact, what happens the moment you say, let's face this truth, what you will find is that it feels like somebody is lifting 20 tons off your shoulders, as indeed, I must say, I'm beginning to feel now, because I have crossed that Rubicon of pandering to you and other people who may well completely ignore this video and go off and do something else which they find suits their interests more or fits the stereotypes they prefer to hold, but which may well have absolutely zip to do with reality. Thank you very much. And that is why it is so hard for people like me who want to tell you the truth. But I shall endeavor to do so more and more every day from now. Thank you very much for listening. If you watch this on Rumble, please like it, comment if you can, and subscribe, because it helps other people see what I'm trying to say over here. Have a great evening and happy Easter.